Recording in
I saw
progress.
that Tuesday.
Bruce.
You might not want to hear it.
In red and Kingston, it means it's turned off.
Okay,
Is Kate all right?
In green means it's turned off.
okay.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started tonight.
I just asked the
Make sure you
question,
turn
if
the mic
we
on.
do
I
have
will.
a full board
I
back
will.
there.
We are missing one person.
Motion of Liz, fill in tonight as an alternate.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who's the second?
Probably couldn't hear him.
I will address them.
All right. So we have a site plan review for MTI Polyex this evening.
Yes.
Oh,
Not,
is that the same?
although they sent a
It should
response
be.
letter to my
I
comment.
printed.
We did,
We'll leave it
and,
in case somebody
and
comes.
it's mostly representative of future work product. It's not a, it was much more to acknowledge what we were told. And we've already made many of those changes.
And they just got today the comments from Chris Raymond.
Which we all have.
Yeah, in your packet.
Right.
And I sent them over to them this morning so that they would be able to see them before the evening.
There's a lot in there to,
There's a lot in there, and
Yeah, I brought.
we didn't want to miss the opportunity to get it out there,
I appreciate that.
but I also didn't want you not to see it as soon as I saw it, so.
Yeah,
as soon
no,
as I
that's,
saw it, I sent it along to you.
yeah.
So,
And
oh,
After you.
I was gonna ask how you wanted to proceed, if you wanted to talk about what you're addressing. in plan,
Sure,
or-
sure. So I had a busy day, so when I saw it, it's like ran back and read and put some thoughts down on it. But, you know, some of it is pretty straightforward in, which I can sort of talk about this evening, which is mostly around site plan. But a lot of the second page is pretty technical. Mike, who's joined us this evening, I called him on his vacation and said he'd be happy to join, but we talked about it on the way down here this evening, saying, out of respect for this body, to try to review something some of it that's so technical and it doesn't give you anything. We want to actually have the opportunity to respond, and we talked about how fast it would be for us to respond to you with work product and written commentary. And make sure that you get everything. And just because Mike is out and we're all busy people, it would be by late Wednesday, but definitely Thursday of next week, we could deliver all that work product to you, which would reflect the comments that we received today, as well as the comments we received from Glenn prior to the previous meeting.
So timing wise, because Glenn is here on Wednesdays, if he doesn't have it in time to review, then it, we kind of have another week. And then my only concern is that we as a board wouldn't see any response from Glenn until, the day before the next meeting.
Sure.
And doesn't really give us the chance to.
I know how that feels.
So,
So why don't we do this? Glenn, you're here on Wednesdays, and I don't know if Mike can chime in, but for us to deliver on Thursday and publish, we would have to be actually finished on Wednesday, which Glenn, if I sent you a package electronically and brought the paper copies of everything back, which we would replace, give you full size for everybody on the board and all the counts, proper sizes, would that help you?
If I got those on the 11th electronically,
Yep.
that would be fine. That would be fine. Because what I would do is I would then commit to getting my comments out on Wednesday, the 13th to the board. So
Wednesday,
they would,
13th.
they would
No.
have,
Wednesday the 11th?
Wednesday, the 11th, I will commit to having my comments out. I'll do them on Friday
Okay.
and send them to the board on Friday, so that folks have a weekend and the beginning of the next week.
Yes, I,
Right, but he, I
except
don't,
for this last,
or you might not have, you weren't gonna get him to Glenn till Thursday maybe, right?
in paper form.
Oh,
For us to publish and for me to put it in the car and bring it down, I need to actually be done on Wednesday. Not just me, but Mike and Heather have to do the engineering piece, I'll do the written piece. And, you know, we can make a very nice package. I don't, if it's too big, we can always give it to you as a link. I don't know if you can receive a link in your
Yep.
email.
Yep.
So we'd probably just do like a Dropbox share or something like
And,
that.
provided I can get it on Wednesday, I will commit to doing my review for Friday. And then you folks will have the weekend and the beginning of the week.
Is
Instead
that
of waiting until the next
is that not
Wednesday.
typically an option? Typically, do people have to bring you a hard copy?
No, I'm happy with an electronic
Okay.
copy, except for plans. I prefer
Oh.
paper plans. And if the paper plans get delivered on Thursday, what I would do is on Friday, I would pick them up.
But that's
because
just a preference.
Well, it's a preference for my old eyes,
Just
yes.
a preference for at least.
What if I put it big? Well, for the meeting, yes, but in terms of this timeline.
I am more than happy to work with it electronically.
Okay.
More than
Okay.
happy.
Okay,
So
so
we'll,
if for some reason that slips and you're not able to do that, then we would probably be looking at the
we,
following.
we would roll a cycle. I understand.
Right.
I
Should
understand.
I also be included in that email chain, please?
Sure, I mean, whatever the protocol is in the town of Brentwood, if it's a single
Mhm.
point and Glenn's supposed to distribute it, or some towns I'm not allowed to communicate directly with board members and people around, but no, your role changed.
Yes, he is
Thank you.
now our.
So you're who I talked to on the phone today.
I'm the one who
Yes.
really kind of sets the schedule for Glenn
Perfect.
and what he's supposed to be looking at and kind of keep him straight
So-
with what's
so-
coming up. I'm the organizer of it, so.
I will
it would be
email you
proper
both.
if I was included in that email.
Yep, absolutely, and if you can give me your email before I leave, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Are you using the?
The only email I am using is my government email.
But there's a,
And the only email I will be sending any information to any board member will be through a government email.
there's a generic office email address.
Oh, he uses his M. Kennedy.
Correct.
At
I am
Brentwood,
unaware
sure.
of a generic
Reach
planning
out
board.
to Jillian, either it's not on the website or somebody's.
I think it's on the website.
And there's probably a way that you can do it so that that those emails get forwarded to
And
the
just
entity.
forwarded to
Yeah.
I'd much rather prefer that because
Yeah.
of the OneDrive system. I can take things from my email, dump it into my OneDrive, and enter it in an appropriate folder.
Yeah, I'm sure Karen can help with that.
Okay.
So are we all set up on government emails?
Everybody has one.
What?
Everybody has one. You have one.
Is it active?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you
You know your
are
password?
unclear or unsure, it'll be the first letter of your name, Doug, D, and then your last name, at brentwoodnh.gov. Now, if you haven't opened it before.
It's
then-
not planning
Again,
board,
can I
at
just-
planning board?
Can I just time out here? Let's finish out of respect.
Let's
for
do
his
this, and then we can have a tech lesson.
Okay,
Sorry.
were there any issues in either your response to Glenn's comments or the TEC comments that you wanted to ask about now?
Not in particular, no, I mean, some of it, much of it is just clarification, and we appreciate that, so that's not a problem.
And Michael can talk directly to Chris.
Okay,
I know some towns don't let you do that, but we've never done that.
yep,
If your engineer wants to talk directly to our engineer, you're encouraged to do so.
all right, we will, I'll make sure he knows he can hear it, because he's listening as we speak, but yes, that's, yeah, hopefully it's the right Mike Gagnon, right?
So you need a continuance till the 19th.
I'm doing the math, today's the 5th, 2 weeks, yes.
Yeah.
Glenn, was there anything else that you wanted to
No,
talk about?
no.
I do have much more of a procedural question.
Mm-hmm.
We had the clock ticking last meeting. And the statutory requirement is how many days?
65 days.
And that's under New Hampshire law.
Correct.
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 And which obviously allows for public comment and involvement. If we're going through this process and even though we'd be continued to the next, we'd still be within the 65-day window, and I'm assuming, does the statute mean you can't vote to approve or deny until the 65th?
No. Anytime within that, if the planning board's review is complete and everything has been taken care of, we can do a decision anytime within that 65 days.
Okay.
If for some reason the board is not comfortable with the information that been provided, then they can either ask for a continuance, an extension that you would grant,
Mm-hmm.
or you could force a decision, which could be a negative.
Yeah, negative decision, yeah.
But small site reviews often can get done in 6 weeks, so sometimes they do. This one was hindered by our change of staff, so that was really unfortunate, but
Such is life.
such is life.
But an option's always open to you is to agree to an extension beyond the 65 days.
If needed.
If need be, right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think we could satisfy everything that we've been told. And I guess the other question is, do you see anything on the horizon that, we should be aware of? Or is this?
I felt confident with my review letter that they were things that were completely easy for you to accomplish.
Absolutely.
And when I saw Chris's today, I felt similarly.
Yeah, we did too.
I didn't think that there was anything, there didn't seem to be anything in his comments that your engineer would not be capable of making go away.
He's listening. I can't say otherwise.
Would,
It seemed like some standard engineer work that.
Agreed.
do you facilitate the connection with the fire department, or does Mark,
Or do we talk to them directly? Or?
Yeah, you should really talk with them directly.
Okay. We can do that.
Perfect.
Our approval is going to say that you have to abide by all the NFPA codes.
Of course.
So the holdup would be, for the benefit of talking to them earlier, would be that you'll get your building permit earlier.
Right. I think with the building permit, just for where we are in the design process, I don't see the NFPA review being a tough one. So if it gets unhinged from this process, then
Just know how soon you want to dig in the ground before it falls.
about a year ago, but I had a pile of shingles in the way.
You did have a pile of shingles in the way, which aren't in the way anymore.
Yeah. That's right. Thank you for the people that attended. That was great.
Oh, you might actually.
Thank you for
wanna
having
do
us.
Just
In
do-
what?
You might just want to do a recap of the site walk in this hearing, because you mentioned it at the last hearing.
Just to put it in the,
Right,
Context.
sort of in the, yeah.
just real quick, so you can reach out to Mark for anything during the week, so.
Very good.
So we did have a site walk in the last Saturday?
Week
Yeah.
24th, so.
23rd, week and a half ago.
We walked around the building and saw where the new addition's gonna be, with the parking. I had some questions about storage that actually I was gonna ask you about, like how does that work? Is that part of the site plan? Like there are trailers?
The beautiful thing about this back indoors, finished product, mostly, and there's a
But
lot.
that's a completely legitimate question for the site plan review process.
Are those on the site plan, or will they be marked, like which ones? If they aren't currently, if storage isn't delineated currently, that should be part of the site.
They do show though.
The
On their-
previous.
Maybe
On their, right, and on their existing,
changes in
on their
that?
existing conditions plan, they show it.
It's better if you include whatever you may need. You can always have less. you could get into potential issues with having more than.
Understood, yeah.
Yes. And if you-
Does anybody else who lives there want
Well, we did look at some of the access, and some of the access needs to be cleaned up. What's required for us to get around the building.
Right.
Shingles are gone, did I mention it?
I think that's come up before.
Oh,
You could see where they were. Okay, does somebody, any other discussion?
I make a motion for convenience to the 24th.
How about the 19th?
19.
19.
I'll second.
Any last discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll see you on the 19th, and if something does change, just communicate it.
Absolutely. You're using a different email address then? A government email address or the same?
Mark's going to make me use that one, but you keep sending me the stuff too.
Look,
We're
I
gonna-
already started a piece of paper with the email addresses.
It's actually gonna be townplanner@brentwoodnh.gov.
Oh, really? Is that what you're gonna do?
And it's gonna,
Really like Mr.
Because I do have a G Greenwood at Brentwood.
I'm not gonna make you look
NewHampshire.gov.
into that one. Or, we don't need to talk about email.
We're still not gonna talk about that now. But for the time being, please still use the Glen K Greenwood.
Okay.
The one that we know we can
And-
get back to each
and
other.
is-
But keep Mark copied on this.
Yeah, I'll take Mark's because I have yours already.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent.
Looking forward to it.
Sure, what else do we have? Other board business? Anything to sign?
I did have an agenda.
Board business. Oh, this is, okay. Sign, field, Mylar.
That's behind you.
Sign with the proper pen and proper place.
Correct.
So you can do it again.
Do you have a?
Oh, in my desk, I do, yeah. Hold on a second, I apologize.
August 15th minutes.
Honestly, it's gonna come back to us. but
We,
you have to
we
sign
don't have them.
Because the stamp is smeared in. Our registry's not gonna accept that stamp, but we have to bring it over for them to reject it. Yep.
Okay. All right,
Who smeared it?
so whenever you have those.
I'm gonna do that right now.
We're not, so we have some discussion of the sidewalk in minutes from this evening. We're not gonna have, we didn't have a quorum at the sidewalk, so we don't have minutes from that. I still need to look at the HOP grant for the next round. So I will try to bring something to the next meeting on that. And so we've talked before about the alternates and the process for putting alternates on the board. But I realized that the site walk is, if you don't have a quorum, you can't vote alternates on people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the law is written that way. That the chair appoints somebody. So I'll tweak the process so that we'll have our process that we use to vote people on, but then say, or
That you can, if
in
that's,
the event of, a lack of quorum. So it didn't make sense to me before why the law would say that you would count, and it does not make sense. If you don't have a quorum, you don't have a quorum.
And that'll probably be pretty rare that we'll have so many
Yeah, I
people
hope
missing
so.
that, but just in case, yeah.
I apologize. We're just.
Yeah, a lot of us have been there like 25 or 30 times over the last.
Yeah, we figured you guys just didn't wanna walk around.
that's why I
Didn't wanna see where the pile had been.
No, nowhere.
No, I was,
know where.
I drove to see where the pile wasn't. As soon as he said it was gone, I was there within like 3 days. Because it had been a decade.
Yeah.
So I needed
Is
to
it
see
still
it.
on like Google Maps?
Oh, you can probably, you probably
Good
can.
question.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
It was hideous.
If you actually
Screenshot
saw
that
it,
for posterity.
you would be shocked.
probably
It was shot.
80 by 200.
Wow.
Even in a windstorm, because they didn't keep it covered? Just shingles would show up on other people's property. That's insane.
That's
He's truly horrible.
Well, he's a new owner, right? Is this a new owner?
So the buck stops.
I know with the alternates, you were, doing the same people. I know for a fact that, you know, like if you were at this
Oh,
before,
yes,
yeah.
we've already, see, we already forgot that. Now we have somebody to contact us. Who the alternate is on. the
I'm
specific-
out of town for that day, so that's why I just wanted to let
Okay.
him know
I
that.
meet the statutory requirements of meeting minutes, and those will be recorded in the meeting minutes.
In addition to that, I think that they're asking that you keep track of which alternates have been called up for which specific.
Project.
So the-
Projects.
So the next meeting, we can say, hey, Mark, we should be on this.
Well, it's Mr. Kennedy now. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
So-
And being consistent with who was on it, but I know for a fact I'm not
yes,
gonna be here
no,
that
that's-
day, so.
that's- that was one thing.
So I wanted to make sure that you knew that.
I have concerns about that process. Attendance wise, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, but
you know
if,
what I mean? How do you figure out if a person hasn't shown up for 5 meetings and you've already seated the alternates a couple times and then they show up? Do you remove them from an application and put the one that just showed up? Or
no.
I'm not sure how you want to do it.
Well-
A clear process.
Yeah, so we have an application, you know, specific applicant. We put an alternate on the first night. That
For a
alternate
recusal,
on
for a recusal.
for whatever reason we have an alternate on. Every time this is up in the future, if we need an alternate, we might not, but if we do, it should be that same alternate, if available. So I know it gets.
And
kind
we're
of
saying right
complicated.
now, we know
That I'm not gonna be there.
that tonight's alternate will not be available on the 19th.
But stuff will be back.
And
in
hopefully,
person.
right, hopefully we have a full board and
Is she
we will
on
not need a.
No,
No.
I don't think so.
So, I mean, do you have just a table of like, or will you have a table of what's active? Active applications?
What I've established is folders within my OneDrive. So when applicant comes in, I create not only a paper folder, but also an electronic folder. So then I start typing out notices, how those and then I figure out the timeline of those notices, whether the applicant has been in or not. If it's a new application, they have to be noticed 10 days. Let's just call it 14 for conversation. So then I have to take those notices, they get to a paper, all the butters lists, I have to send out all that stuff. So that's how it kind of goes. It all gets put into folders. And then that folder, the paper folder, sits on my desk or on Glenn's, wherever I get moved back and forth, until that application is complete. And then that folder gets filled up with plans and all the meeting minutes will all go into that folder. It's noted at the top with its map location. That's how we find everything, by blocking the map page. And then when that is complete, then it will go into the filing system, and the plan will actually go into the plan board.
What filing system? Who's,
Oh.
the towns?
No,
Yes,
well, the planning board.
all the physical, I know, I'm trying to.
Is
it the
separate
Rolodex?
electronic from physical.
It's the Rolodex.
It's not going into your personal file, on your computer. It gets
Yes.
here.
It's going in the
all on my-
cloud.
My issued computer by
Well, that's
the town of Brentwood.
That's a good point. So OneDrive can be your personal OneDrive.
Correct.
That only you can see. And you can share files, but you can also have a SharePoint.
Yes,
that
I'm
everybody
learning
has
all about
access
this OneDrive. It's one day at a time as to how I want to use it and what can be done with it. So it'd be my plan is when this, which can be corrected at any moment, but this is my philosophy and my thinking. If I take everything that's associated with an applicant and I put it in an electronic file,
I got that file.
all I have to do is go to distribution list, click on planning board, and everybody in this planning board, including
see
Becky Dunham, who's on the conservation
All of the
commission,
papers.
it just, that whole entire folder goes bam. So you can open that folder and you get all that information.
I get that part.
Okay.
But the part I'm not understanding is here in this building
Mhm.
or
If you would like to join me at when this meeting adjourns, I will take you into the sacred inner sanctum.
There's a paper file for everything.
I will show you
So
how.
does this get turned into a paper file?
Yes, 100%.
There is a paper file.
Do we have to
someone
keep a paper file?
Could come in, yes, yeah.
We have to keep a paper file
You have to-
physically?
Well, no, if you were going to have a designated computer that the public could access
Which we
at
don't.
any
yeah.
time,
Right, yeah.
Okay.
you'd be fine.
Right, but.
We've
But we
never
don't.
done it that way, but you could.
No, we don't.
But Mark, to get back on the topic, I think we're talking about who would attend, yeah, just, who would, this is like a simple part of that whole big huge file of just keeping track who was, if there was an alternate, who was the alternate on what particular case.
Just
Right.
write
And
down
so
on
you'll
the outside of the
know-
folders with the
That's
alternates.
what Jillian did it on the inside flap of the file.
Right.
She just wrote who the alternate was.
Yeah, but we
It
didn't,
Sat on the, on.
we didn't keep that before, right? We didn't have
Yeah,
that.
we did.
It is.
Oh, we did?
Just said that
That's why
Jillian
I
used to
said
do
to
it.
Okay.
you in the beginning, you will know that it's a statutory requirement that I have written meeting minutes
Yep.
5 days after.
Yeah,
we
it's just,
approve
in
this.
some meetings, and we might have two things going on at once that are, start at different times, but wind up in the same evening with different.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a suggestion, but it would, and I don't know if you do anything, like, do you have a tracker that's just a list of, like, these are the active projects, and this is here's the 65-day window, and here's the next meeting?
That's what Mark was talking about.
That's,
That's what you were talking about,
that's
right? The
generally
documents,
what
the timelines,
the person in
the
marketing position
timeline
does.
for each
Yeah.
project.
Yes,
Just in one, like, it would be this, but it would just say, like, applicant, address, next meeting date. That's all. And then boom, boom, boom. If you have a lot going on,
Stop it. We'll talk about it.
I think I'll bring a copy of one of Robin's files from Kingston, just to see. I think exactly what you're thinking is exactly what she does. And you'll see it, and you can
Yeah, it's
either
perfect.
buy into it or not, but I think you'll find it's really
That was
helpful.
my question, does any other town do it?
Yeah,
You don't have to read the.
she has
Right.
a great system for doing it.
I'm more than willing to look at any system. For me, at this particular junction, if you went in there and looked at what goes on in there in that filing system, I am just being 2 weeks in, just trying to get a rhythm down. Just get a couple applications in, get a rhythm down, get a
Yeah.
process down, and then I think we can work on the process.
You're
Yeah.
doing a great job.
Because I think it's more than what you really think that it is.
Yeah, it sounds like you're gonna be, if anything,
Yes.
too
And
thorough.
And then I'm dealing with people balking, people coming into the
Yeah,
office, asking about this, asking about
You'll
that.
get it, you'll get it.
I give them a simple answer as I can, but then I refer them to Mr. Greenwood. Would you like to set up and so I make appointments with him. I have other.
Yeah,
it's,
it'll be fine.
It's a little more involved.
Not trying to, not getting on the case at all, because I really appreciate everything you've done so far, and getting stuff ahead of time and getting files in here.
I think for 2 weeks in, I think I'm doing pretty good. I think. I hope.
It's always important.
Can we go back to the emails at one time, because I had trouble with the email, I got it, I got it. So what do you go in? Like, I went to Outlook to try to get in, and it didn't come up as my
Like Outlook. on the
Outlook, like,
web.
I don't usually use Outlook, you know, so I think you have to go into Microsoft 365. I had no idea that's how I would get to my Brentwood email. So just something to,
You don't go to Brentwood website?
you don't go to Brentwood
No,
website, you don't go to Outlook, like, you don't go to,
Do
I had
you
three
want
other-
there,
Too
hold
easy.
on, do you want there to be a place where you can click on the Brentwood website that says, bring me to log into my email?
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
that would be awesome.
It is helpful.
Okay.
It is.
Because I said to Karen, you know, like, can you send me how to do this again? Because it's
Which
lost.
heading would you like it to be under? Which heading would you like it to be under?
Planning board.
Well, but it's not just the planning board, it's for everybody.
Put it under Kristen.
No, like, so,
Kristen,
if
no.
you've been to the town website,
Right,
there's
so.
how to, would it be under the how to? How to sign into my emails?
It could be on the front page for that matter. Aren't there
can't be
people
on-
that turn over all the time that need emails that are now
I think it
newhampshire.gov?
makes sense to be under how to.
We need to get a picture of Mark on there too.
Okay, how to?
So.
I'm gonna
when we
do it
first-
right now.
When we first got
Don't worry.
our emails, Jillian
Yep.
printed out instructions. I don't know where she got those from.
She gave us a form with a password on it.
And she gave us a password, exactly.
Yeah, I had to ask again, but I even did, then I didn't need it, cause when I clicked on there, I saw, you know, like, my old one worked, but I had 3 came up, it's the one I needed.
You can.
You know, that directly comes to-
Should give a really long, you know, you don't have to cut and paste, cause it's
Once
long.
you log into there, put in the password that Karen
Yep,
gave
you can change it.
Can you change it?
I actually didn't even look. See.
You'll be able to change it.
I have no.
Yeah, but I didn't need
I've been
to,
hoping the
like, she
Russians
sent me the
would
new
catch
one,
on.
and then it said go and make it, I tried my, you know, that I had already changed it, but I didn't know, that it was like,
Right,
Right.
we're trying to get back to
I was
it.
thinking, you know, it's like,
Back
what
to
if you have 3 or 4 other
Part of-
emails, right? You
I
know,
love it when
in
you have to-
365. But
Is if you Google
Yeah.
Outlook
Yeah, the
email,
Outlook,
because
it's a good
Outlook
filing, once you get used
has-
to it.
but I had 3 other
Sure.
emails, but not,
Sure.
like I
Really?
had for old jobs.
Oh, no kidding, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to delete those either.
Interesting,
Add it to
yeah.
your phone, or if you do have Outlook built in,
I think that will just be enough, knowing that it was Microsoft 365, I don't know how, like, if you don't use Outlook
Really
generally,
lovely.
Right, yeah.
cause I got 3 jobs, you know, ago that came up.
to your phone.
Right,
The other
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
once
except
you
for this.
log in online,
Can somebody
Yeah.
check to see if
there's
that
like
Exactly.
instructions somewhere. You should be able
Where
to
to
find
do
it.
it.
It'll tell you like what, so it should, Microsoft should walk you through like what selections to make on
Okay.
your phone to add.
I should be able to figure that out, but right now.
It's one of those things you only do once or twice. And
Yep.
you don't
Do you
remember
still
how
have
to
your
do it.
original sheet with the password in that?
I probably do.
Yeah, I gotta-
No, she'll send you a new one, cause
I gotta look for
I didn't use it, but she sent me a new one today, she'll just send you.
But
Okay.
it's so much easier for me to send an email and just click distribution.
Oh,
It's
I-
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
100%.
7 people's email.
Well, I-
Even if like other boards, just like Becky Dunham wanted to be like included. Okay, so I went to Karen and I said, can you include Becky Dunham on the planning board distribution list?
Yeah.
No problem.
Well, also it'd
Right
be
on.
easier,
Now she gets everything that you.
I think Letty's also working on this to where you can, instead of doing each person separately, like say the select board, if you want something to go to select board, you can get to all of them with one
Yeah,
thing,
that's
right?
That's what a distribution
Yeah.
list is. It's a
Yeah.
list
Do
of
we have them
emails.
now, Letty, for like select board and?
Yeah, Letty made,
Yes.
or,
supposedly.
Letty made,
I wasn't on the select board one for a while, but I am.
just a,
gotta
just
put
a
yourself.
caution though, cause, you know, if Mark's sending it to the distribution list, or you can see the distribution list, just remember, it's a one way, you know, one time, don't
Oh, yeah,
reply
yeah,
all.
Right.
Then you get into
Say that again?
Don't reply all.
Cause you have a quorum, you can't reply to the, unless it's like what time's the meeting or
So,
something.
We can't have a conversation like we have now.
No.
Right.
Exactly. You
Oh.
don't want.
It's just at
reply
what
to
time,
me personally.
Okay,
Correct.
yeah,
all right.
or what time's the meeting or
Just hit
something like that,
reply,
generic.
Not reply all.
Alright.
And it'll say in the top.
Not that I
list.
say much, but.
And it's the same,
If
it's,
you have to talk to Bruce, do it over coffee.
it's the same, it's always been, it's just with the
He's not
distribution
talking to
list,
And then
it's
burn
not
your cup
there.
after.
Yeah.
Alright, anything else?
Yes.
I have a question. Oh,
No, you first.
That's not-
It's a quick and easy one.
Sorry, this is,
Okay, just an
This
easy one
is
for Mr.
such-
Kennedy, a kind of follow up on a motion that was made and approved a couple meetings ago, and that was to provide copies of the ZBA handbook for all members.
I've already contacted a print house. I had 12 planning board ones printed out, and I also had 12 ZBA ones printed out. I will have them in hand before the 23rd, which is the next ZBA meeting.
I would volunteer to hand deliver those so that they be in the hands of the members prior to the meeting.
When I get them, I will email you on your government address.
You can't call in.
I will call you personally,
Okay.
and you may distribute them. I wanted to introduce myself when I distributed them, because I really haven't met them.
Well, if
but
you have a way to do, I was just trying to allow them some time, a few days' time prior to the meeting.
Facts, yeah, yeah. Right, and I would encourage all board members to read the planning board one. I will give you a copy. I have read it almost front to back. I'm halfway through, but it's extremely digestible, well-written document.
That's this
that-
one you just gave
No.
me, right? No?
No, you haven't received it yet.
Oh.
It's the handbook that I sent you the link to.
Okay, so this is not the same. Oh, I thought
No.
this was the same as
That's
that
the
one.
town ordinances. What this
Okay.
does is it,
I sent you the link. but
Yeah, you
he's
did,
actually-
yeah.
Definitely read
He's
that one
actually
too.
making copies, so you can have a hard copy.
so you can put it
Okay,
right
but then
inside.
there's one that comes out in October or something, every year it's different or something? Is that the
If you
one?
would like to,
Oh, that's the.
That's the RSA book, that's this book.
You're gonna get one of those.
I'm gonna get one of those too. Okay, just light reading.
Yeah, very light.
And after you read it, you don't understand it.
The audiobook version is better.
The audiobook, yeah. Unfortunately, almost no cars have CDs in them anymore. Mine is one of the few. That one, okay.
It's very.
Okay.
okay.
So-
No, I want to say.
All right,
Can I say something? Sorry.
Doug.
There's a Doug there too. Go ahead, Doug.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
He wants to
Um,
make us.
Well, maybe I changed my mind.
Just one quick thing I want to touch on that I touched on last meeting. So, the legislature is currently in the middle of the first LSR deadline because it's an election year. There are going to be two of them, one after the election. But so if there is anything that we maybe want our representative to pursue, we have an option of talking to them now until the end of September. The state rep race here is going to be close, obviously, but that shouldn't really dissuade us from reaching out to Eric, because even if, say, Eric put in a bill in September and our rep turns out to be somebody else, when that happens, the LSR is almost always picked up by some other representative. So, so if there's anything that folks think we
Won't
should
we
pass his way.
discussing Something on housing about that?
well, first,
On
I-
the, not the.
it sounds like somebody's.
So there is a bill being put in about that I won't get into all the details I've heard yet because it hasn't been drafted yet, but it's going to be much less than the last bill. It's going to be much more much less ambitious
So
than
the last one, went like interim study or something. just
yeah. This one is going to be significantly more watered down. Yeah,
So the old one, the previous one is off the record.
it's done. Yeah. So, but so folks can reach out to Eric or probably not Josh Jokel anymore because he's going back to the Fremont district, but Scott Wallace maybe because he's running for this seat. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. But Eric or Scott Wallace, either of them, I think are good contacts if we have anything before the end of September that we want to put in the pipeline.
Mark had something to make it easier for
Yeah.
noticing.
CBA.
yeah, currently when I have to notice people, I have to send the notice off to a newspaper and it has to be printed in a newspaper. We were using the Carriagetown News, but they went out of business. So now we're currently using the Union Leader. Well, I don't think a lot of people in Brentwood read the Union Leader. I don't think it's a very good way of noticing things, but there's new legislation that was passed that planning boards can use the homepage of their website in lieu of a newspaper. But it has to be on the homepage. When you click on the homepage, boom, the screen comes up, that notice has to be right there. So I have things already drafted for you, but I just need to schedule it for a meeting so we can pass that. But here's the deal. It's only for planning boards, not for ZBA boards. So on the ZBA, I still have to notice it through a paper. So that would be legislation that I would want to bring forward to maybe Scott Wallace or Eric.
Yeah.
To move forward, getting that approved for the ZBA, because I don't see any difference between noticing for a planning board hearing than a ZBA hearing.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, Mark, because people can go on our website for free theoretically, whereas you shouldn't have to subscribe to the Union Leader or any
That's
other.
why
paper.
Oh, it doesn't deliver anymore either.
Right. Yeah. So
Carriagetown News was free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not delivered to your house.
Yeah,
So
right,
It was
right.
perfect.
It's less accessible.
But even you should subscribe to the Union, they don't deliver it anymore.
Right.
So you have to go
How about
pick
the
it up.
extra newsletter? Is that so?
Nope, they don't deliver either. There is no
No.
paper that delivers to
I
your house.
feel, my personal opinion on that would be, I think there's way more clicks on our local
Yes.
webpage than there ever is a subscription to any newspaper.
So,
Yep.
and that
And it
would be
keeps it
one of my
local.
questions.
It
How many
re-
hits do we get? I don't mean to.
Letty would probably be the expert on that.
Did we,
You want me to look it up?
And again, this
Just
doesn't,
out of
this is only
curiosity.
for public notice, the registered letters still go to all.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
of course, I have to meet my statutory requirements for
Butter
registered letters too, but
notification
with
still
two hundred
goes
foot abutters. That
Yeah,
still has
sure,
to
of
happen.
course.
But I think it's a much better process for me and everybody involved. And it keeps it local,
Win-win.
Yep.
you know,
I think that's.
anybody looking for anything, they go to that website. And if it's right there on the homepage, I find that a much better way of meeting the statutory requirement
Excellent.
than it actually.
So do we have to vote on that or anything?
I'm sorry?
We have to hold a public hearing.
Oh, we have to hold a
Because
public hearing?
we had it, we set it all up and then my
Well, so we have
assistant
to,
got
we have
stolen
to have a public hearing for,
to do it at the planning board level.
to do it at the planning board level. And then what Mark's talking about is there would need to be legislation.
That allows
So-
ZBAs to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, should he just reach out to, or wait till
I'll-
next
yeah.
week till?
Let's see
it's
who's-
clear?
That's what I was gonna wait till after the election.
Okay, and there's a second.
Yeah,
deadline.
yeah, there's another LSR deadline in November, and that one's more active anyway, because all the dust is
This is
settled at
kind of
that
a
point.
technical change.
And the second LSR deadline starts on the 6th, the day after the election.
Is it monthly?
No, it's it's once every year,
Okay.
except election years now it's two. They do one before the election, one after. But that's when all the bills need to be proposed during that window, and the only way you can propose a bill after that is if there's some kind of emergency like COVID or something unforeseen like that.
So we need a public hearing just to say, yeah, we want to notice it on the
Correct.
website?
Mhm.
Wow.
It's part of a process.
Because we're changing our regulations. It's in our regulations.
Which say, put it in newspapers that don't come.
Well,
Yeah.
say for example, if you wanted to change that process and people did get the union leader and they read that notice every time and were
Yeah.
aware of what's going on in your town and you all of a sudden changed it without noticing them
Yeah.
of the change, then
But didn't you need two before for notices or meetings? I thought you needed two
No,
public
for, to
spaces.
post for a public meeting,
Mhm.
you have to post it in 2 places in town,
24 hours.
24 hours.
How much
Notice.
does it cost?
Not including Sundays.
How much does it cost to post in the newspaper?
The cost really isn't passed on to the taxpayers
Depends
because
on the size of the, we'll leave a notice.
it's not passed on to the taxpayers. The applicant has to pay for it. For me, it's getting more eyes on it.
Yeah,
The more eyes you can get on it, the better off it's gonna be.
yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
I think that's what the statutory requirement is supposed to facilitate.
Well, it was written when there was no internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was
yeah.
none of this internet stuff.
Yeah.
There were newspapers.
There were newspapers that got delivered to your house.
Yeah, right.
I was delivering them probably.
So did we, so do we need to notice this? Like, can we do this without waiting for the ZBA thing? Can we do this
Oh,
with the
yes,
planning board?
100%.
So
Right.
how do we do that?
I will facilitate that.
He's
Okay.
got it.
I'm just kind of waiting for I've only been here 2 weeks.
No, I know, you're doing great.
Can we?
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Little
We're
gra-
making
have
it
some
easier
grace,
for you. This will
some
be
grace.
easier.
He has to format something that we can look at.
Yeah, I already have it. I just gonna need to change some of the.
Great idea,
language
Mark.
and
Whenever
dates.
you're
Well
ready.
done, Mark.
Yes,
Whatever, great idea.
it's on the radar, so it'll come down the pike.
Did you get that number, Tony? Out of curiosity?
Oh, I stopped.
Oh.
Oh, we don't need the number.
I was,
How many-
I was doing a different thing.
But you know,
Whatever number it
Doug,
is,
if you
I'm
go
sure
on
it's more
each
than
time
enough.
3 times, like,
Oh,
it's,
it's-
it's,
Did you happen to ask
That's
the
more than
workforce
the-
housing, or did
I can check in with Nick. I don't remember if it was you or me, but I'll check in with him.
I say I was? Okay, thanks. And then, oh.
Did
You're
you
up.
want to talk first?
I was just gonna tell everyone.
If you go to brentwoodnh.gov and in the how-to menu, the top thing is now how to access town email. If you click there, it'll bring you to a red button that says click here to access your town email, at which point you need to put your login information and you should be able to log in.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Letty. Thanks,
Thank
Letty.
you. Good job.
You're the best.
Bam.
Alright,
Just an update on the Green Snow Pro Snow Fires seminar that I mentioned to the planning board, and I spoke to Lee Cooper from UNH and Aubrey Volker out of Concord. And I just reviewed this with the select board the other night. Informal, told them, you know, there were a couple of seminars coming up. One in October 9th of this year, and it's at 8 a.m. to 2:30, and that's in Stratham and in Portsmouth. They seem to be fairly receptive. Letty emphasized that the highway department should go,
Right.
and
I didn't like make a motion. All three of them seemed pretty excited
receptive.
about it. Yeah.
It was pretty informal. And I also mentioned that Bruce thought it was a great idea only because of the fact of the bridges in town and being conscious with the new truck with the calibration system on it, none of which I understand any of this. So
They don't need it.
Well, and the other thing,
Yep.
just to be clear, is that anyone on, what was it, conservation,
Yep.
planning, any board that wants to go to this, the town will pay for your registration.
Which is $60. Yep. And I understood, if I'm correct, that Karen was going to reach out to each board, find out if anybody would be interested. So anyway, that is on a Thursday, I think.
9th, Wednesday.
And it's 8 to 2:30, donuts, coffee, and lunches provided. And so if you're interested, I'd encourage at least one or two people for the planning board, conservation definitely. But the more people that are aware of what needs to be done, I think it would be beneficial for the town. The other thing I mentioned that we required it for River Run. And if, we should be setting the example as well.
If I was a board member, I'd make a motion
Send
to send Bruce Stevens,
Well, I was
the
pointing
Green Snow Pro
Doug
King.
and I are both going, and I think,
Good.
Mark getting involved with the program here, it may be looking at, being aware of what's going on. I think it'd be good if you could devote that day, those hours that day to attend with us. I'll give you
That's a Glenn's Day.
It's a what? It's a Glenn's Day?
Well, that's a
It's a
perfect
Glen
day,
Day. Oh.
because then we
we
don't,
have coverage.
we're covered.
Okay.
So you're not going to
I am a
attend
town employee.
one?
I'm sorry?
You're not gonna attend?
You'll get reimbursed for your
Nope, I'm
mileage.
not.
Yes,
All
you
right,
will.
so
Mark?
you're going, Mark's going,
Doug's going.
you've been voluntold,
Liz?
you're going.
I think Bruce would be better to go to this.
You can go too.
No, it's
Anyone-
okay.
Anyone that wants to.
It's okay. You can come back and report.
You've got to submit these names to Karen.
Okay,
And then the follow-up on that is that Bruce made the the board made the recommendation that conservation should handle maybe do a seminar or for all boards, and let Becky and Doug work on that. And it doesn't need to be done right away. It's an ongoing process, so they can just get it on their agenda.
That'd be a big help.
I don't know how many people they, allow for, but if we're sending 6, 7, 8 people, we should probably make sure that there's room.
The
for-
people I spoke with.
Yeah, we
Not
can
way
send
too
as
long.
many.
Very encouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
I
that
don't
we
think
were-
they have a
I
cutoff.
No,
Oh, okay, so it's a big place.
anybody that.
That's the day I
wanted
do my
to
real job.
attend.
I would say I can't because I'm at work.
all right, thank you for doing that.
Oh,
Progress.
I'll refriend you again. Unfriend you.
Yeah, what is that? Please.
It is budget season, I got
Oh.
the email today, but that process is starting,
October.
Nope, I just thought of something else. Sorry. I didn't mean to make that face at you. My face was
so,
like.
let's talk about that at the next meeting.
Really, our budget is. Oh, we have a lot of money,
We have money,
a significant.
a significant amount of money. For example, well, not having somebody in this obviously was a big part of that. But then, we have $8,000 in there every year for master plan chapters, but we're giving grants, so there's still $8,000 in that line item. Actually, maybe you can help, because I've talked to what I'd like to do is accrue that money. But we can't accrue it without a contract, so we need to set up a capital.
You're talking about you can't keep it to the next year without a contract. That's
Right.
encumbering it.
I
You want to
wanna-
set up a capital or a revolving fund so that you can save it up until it's kind of like we do with the revaluations.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I
So
don't
you
know
wanna
that
set up a revolving fund for our budget?
for the master
No,
plan.
just for a line item
specifically.
in the budget.
Now, that's an interesting question, and maybe you might have answers, that when you have a revolving fund, it doesn't have to be, does that have to be earmarked for something?
I'm not sure if it's going to be a revolving fund or a capital reserve fund. That's something that you're going to. Oh, apparently the meeting is.
Probably capital
I
reserve.
think it's gonna be a capital reserve.
And I think you could look at the verbiage, obviously, of every other time we've set one up, but you're gonna have to say who is allowed to expend out of it and what the purpose is.
This one, most of them are all like town buildings and equipment. The select board is the agent, but this one should be a planning board. Is the
Mhm.
agent and a town store.
I would say, I would recommend that it would be a board vote, that you
Yes.
can't spend any money out of it unless there's a quorum and a vote.
It would have to be a legal vote, as long as we say the agent should be the planning board. That's the language.
That would probably be the blanket language.
Any vote has to be a legal vote,
So to set one up, it would have to go to the voters, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Warrant article.
Our budget is nothing, minor compared to.
Oh, yeah.
You never know what gets people.
What is our
excited.
budget, just out of curiosity? What's the budget?
116,742 this year.
116,742?
That's what we
Mhm.
have.
That was what we got
And we,
at the start of the
we
year.
had 2 grants this year? Was it 2?
That's
What are we down to?
Well, we had one grant that included the.
what do we have left?
Oh, we-
65,970.
So the grant covered something we would have spent and then gave us money to do it.
And that was
Uh,
50,000?
They won't let us keep that.
40,000.
That was the housing grant, right?
For lion's share of our
Spend it or
budget
lose it.
is the employee,
Yep.
the medical, the retirement.
Yep.
I think it depends.
What do we have
What you're
left in
spending
that
it on.
budget? Do we know?
can A lot.
Oh, we still have a lot left in that budget?
Yeah.
Because we
Way
didn't have it
ahead
okay.
Because of that $8,000 and because of the numbers that we put
a month or two, couple months.
Couple months, at least.
There is a lot more money than that.
3 months.
There's a lot more money than that?
There's a lot more money than that.
So, so I'll bring that next time. Think about if there's anything that we're not doing that we'd like to be doing. But that's the one thing I'd like to do.
You know,
Use the
something
master
good,
plan.
we have a contract, we could have a contract with that. and that's, homes that we do, master plan chapters. That way we'd set up for encumbrance.
We don't need to encumber anything.
We're,
Well, if we hold
going
over.
to use somebody
And
else.
Glenn
Yeah.
Craig on.
We're going to use somebody else.
Well, this is
Yeah.
for the HOP, this would be for the HOP grant. Yeah, the master plan would be like, we wanna update the transportation chapter. I'd like to do it all at once.
And if we do that, we have to,
Every so many
we have to
years.
run,
Or
raise
a
some money for a
larger-
couple of years, yeah.
Or a larger chunk of it at a time, so it's not all
It makes sense.
So if we have a fair chunk to go toward that, we would have to encumber it before the end of this fiscal year.
No.
Well, if it's in our budget, we have no control over our budget after the
Microphone,
31st.
right up to that.
No,
I
Um,
would-
speak to
I
the
would
people.
say
If we're
that's-
having, if the planning board is intending to put forth a warrant article that would
Oh, yes.
establish, then you could say, we would also like to use X, Y, and Z amount from unencumbered funds in the past year's budget.
we
But I
start
think
at
that-
8,000.
Right, but I think that encumbrance has to happen before the end of the year.
No.
I wish you guys would investigate that a bit further.
That's how it works all the time.
Well, we always have had to have contracts in the past.
That's for if you're just using it for a specific, this is going in
But
front
see,
of the voters.
I'd like to know that this way we could have it cast in concrete. If that doesn't pass at town meeting, we would lose that.
Yes,
money.
just like you do every year.
Yeah,
Right,
just like
Right,
we do every
so
year.
why don't we encumber what we have?
Because you have to use it.
We have to
Well,
have a
the other-
contract.
No, you have to use it within the next
No.
year.
Well, within the 25, year 2025.
Right, but it sounds like we're not gonna be ready to,
Right,
do
yeah,
that.
we don't wanna
Oh.
use it. Now, the alternative is we could set aside that for a second, let's say we go to the voters and we start a fund, we don't have anything in it. We we take the $8,000 that we have now and we do, the road update that we talked about. I heard back from the guy who came and presented. I asked him about looking at our ordinance, and he acknowledged my message, but hasn't, but said he didn't have a chance to think about yet, a proposal. So those are two ways we could expend some of that money, and that's, two things that we've, so we could do that. That's fine. We've got some time on the master plan because we've updated a lot recently.
Yeah, 2 fronts.
So think about all those things. We can take some of them up next time, vote on them if we want.
Could Mark maybe call them in about the stormwater? Perhaps Mark, Mr. Kennedy could contact the stormwater expert that spoke to us.
I'll forward you the email, Mark. I'll forward you to the stormwater email.
To learn what his established price would be, or contract price would be to review our stormwater.
And he might not have the time.
You could send me that and his contact information.
Yeah.
I'll ask him to put us a price on that.
Thank you. And then maybe if you could dig up the proposed price for the road. We got a letter from.
That was something that Chris and I worked on, so I'll get that to you.
It wasn't very detailed. I'd like to see some detail. We're gonna have a contract. I'd like to see some detail on what TBC is proposing.
Instead of just sending it to me, if you just drop it in the distribution list, and everybody will receive it, including myself.
You're all about efficiency.
Okay, so that's budget.
I am.
Grants. I don't know if this is a good time to mention it, but you mentioned the possibility of also having Glenn review some
That was a secret and private conversation that we had that I didn't want to bring it up. So my plan was, and it's been talked about, that to change Glenn's contract to also review ZBA applications. Currently, he does not review them before they go to the ZBA, and I find his expertise and talent in this board monumental to this process.
Extremely monumental.
And I feel that the ZBA could also benefit from that expertise and guidance. But it has to be a change in Glenn's contract. But I don't know if there's a conflict in scheduling because the ZBA meets Monday evenings. Someone mentioned to me that it might be a conflict to his schedule. Staring at you.
Well,
sir.
does he have to be at said meetings? Or just
If
review
the
them?
idea is to be at said meetings, I am going to run from the room screaming.
No.
I can't do any more night meetings.
I
I think just having the list of comments like we had when you weren't here last time would be sufficient for the ZBA.
95%
Do they meet once a
If
month?
that's what I
I meet
can.
once a month and only when needed.
Okay,
Mhm.
so do you think hours wise,
I can't imagine it would be more than 2 hours a month.
Once you have a contract price for us for this next year, or between now, say between October 1st and the ensuing year.
Yeah.
we can
Just
cover
for the
that.
budget,
Just-
yeah.
Because it wouldn't be that much.
Okay.
Including meetings would absolutely make me
No, I don't think
say
the
that I don't want
meetings.
to do that.
Deal breaker, got it.
But can we say the ZBA should do, like, is that our
We're
purview?
not telling them what to do, we're just giving them the benefit of understanding. the
No,
law.
I am also the
More knowledge would be
agent
helpful.
of the ZBA.
Okay.
We'll say. So for me to enter into those conversations with Glenn, that's why I mentioned it in passing. I didn't know if it was this board's business that I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that. It'd be more of something that I would talk about on the 23rd with the ZBA. I didn't want to include you guys in it because
Okay.
you're not the ZBA.
We're out.
So we
Great
haven't done,
idea.
we've done nothing to this point. You should talk to the ZBA.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But it
Thank
was
you
brought
for
up
our
and now I
support,
have to
Mark.
follow through.
Yeah, you did, absolutely. I'll certainly be there at the next meeting. Encourage.
I'm looking forward to it, Bruce.
This is the best idea I've heard on this table.
I'll have to make sure to
It's 2
show
weeks,
you.
imagine
Yeah,
2 years.
I'll have to make sure to show you how to live stream that meeting before that day comes.
Okay. I know I have
Talk
to
about
figure that
kick-
I think
Um,
that
And then the only other question I have, because it's somewhat budget related, is
CIP.
since the expert retired,
Oh, no, that's impact fees.
You're talking
impact
about
fees.
Impact fee, yeah.
If you've heard of anybody else,
I
Doing
I
that.
did a request, on PlanLink a month or two ago and didn't get anybody. So I don't know what to tell you.
I am gonna regret saying this.
You're gonna what? You're gonna ask for highway impact fees, please?
She is.
No,
Oh,
no, actually, I did say that we should use that as a test case for anyone that we found. Do we have to use some sort of official person, or is that just how we typically have protected ourselves if somebody questioned how we?
that one.
So what do you do if you can't, if there isn't anybody?
Then we keep the ones we have.
There is somebody out
Oh, there is somebody.
There has
Oh,
to
you're
be-
gonna find them?
There has to be someone out there.
Of course there is.
Yes, give Bruce a job. He needs.
There has to be someone.
I mean,
out
what happens if you call Mayberry?
there. He won't answer the phone.
Are you sure?
I have tried.
understands the law.
there's gotta
No,
be somebody
There's gotta be somebody.
who's doing that.
He answered the phone.
So there has to be
He answered
another,
the phone for 2 years after he retired.
there has to be another town.
But he changed the
Yeah,
number.
State planning.
There-
Can't blame
Do you
them.
wanna call some other
I'm just, there's, somebody must have had to update their impact fees.
The NHMA.
Remember when Glenn said that if he had to do something, he was gonna run out of the room screaming? So I mean, I was trying to follow that conversation. You wanna find someone, I was confused by it quite personally, and I'm sure other people are. but-
So-
So at some point, we will
She-
need to.
So Letty wants to pursue impact fees on roadways.
No.
No,
No,
No.
beyond that idea, we have to do periodic updates of our impact fee ordinance. It's required.
we just did it a couple
So
of years
we
ago.
need to find somebody who's going to do that. Or we need to figure out we're going to do it in-house. And I gotta tell you, I'm not the person who's going to do it in-house.
But then
We need a
well, I have
subject
question.
matter
Aren't you-
expert,
Are you in a,
is what we need.
is that in your contract, sir? I'm just-
No,
No,
So-
but that's not how
so it's something
Brentwood
else that
works.
we're
No.
gonna- we'll
Okay,
have to
fair,
budget
fair.
For, we have to do every so often, and the person who is doing it for everybody.
it did it for
Retired.
us for 20
And nobody
years.
picked that up as an expertise.
Can you imagine? I can't imagine that myself.
Somebody else. None,
No, seriously.
We're gonna be like, what happened to Mark?
Explore the
Thought he was
road
doing the town.
impact fee, that'd be
Wow.
a good time to do
I'm
it.
being serious that I can't believe
He moved
somebody
on.
that was his intern didn't become
Right.
his prodigy that was going to walk into contracts with probably 60 communities in Maine and New Hampshire.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you how many people have impact fees, like
He's
what
done-
percentages?
Done a ton of them.
But how many,
He
like,
didn't
what's the
recommend
percentage of
anybody?
towns that have impact, that collect impact
I
fees?
don't know.
Okay, is it like half or a
No,
third?
it's
or
not half.
It's
but
not very, it's small.
It's probably greater than 30.
2 years.
Oh, really?
Less than
Okay.
half.
State
All right, so we'll have to figure that out. Somebody's gonna post things to board, make phone calls.
Mark, would you be
reach out.
able to get the last impact fee report, both the methodology and the final report, and email it to me? Thank you. I'm sure I have it somewhere.
You think you could do
I
Letty
Didn't
doesn't
say
need
that.
any more jobs.
that?
didn't say that. I
Because
just-
I was
Did you
gonna-
hear about the person who was gonna run out of the room?
I was
Now we have
gonna-
3 of
Or
them.
anybody runs out of
I was
there.
gonna have Kristen
I think it was
voluntold.
I think it was separated, wasn't it separated into this is how, like, this is what my calculations mean, and then also here's the actual report with Brentwood specific
Yes.
numbers? So yes, both of those, please.
Methodology and structure.
Sure. There were 2 documents. I don't,
I don't.
The
even
report.
have file libs.
it probably doesn't, honestly, but I figured out.
It's in the impact fee file.
At the very least, I bet I can find it by doing a Bruce Mayberry email check. Because
Oh.
probably came to me
I'm
electronically.
sure I have it in paper. If, actually, I might actually have it in paper.
I'm sure I have it
Great.
electronically.
I would take any version of it.
Bruce Mayberry.
All right, anything else?
You're gonna sign plans, right?
Oh, yeah,
I did bring up the special.
but I
You
guess,
need to sign plans.
is it just one?
Yeah,
has to
you can-
sign?
Well, one has to, but when we're all here, our regulations say that the board will
We
sign
all
it.
sign. Okay.
The registry only looks for your signature. They care less about any of the rest of you.
If there's an issue with.
That's
recording,
okay.
then why bother?
That's the
That's
story of
okay.
my
You
life.
have to bring it over there. I can't.
Oh, no, but she,
So
just
how many
what
is it?
Kristen said.
How many is it?
I'm impressed.
I think
Yeah, and congratulations.
Anybody else who wants?
Congrats.
Address this one, say, Ned's gonna love it.
maybe you wanna limit new ideas.
Okay, if there's nothing
I had just a few, everybody else. had
else,
ideas.
can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
I.
Okay.
Opposed.
What else
you wanna Kidding, bring up? kidding. They're
done.
All in favor?
the only one?
They did like
That's
phone
finished.
numbers, so.
I don't bring my